Wife of 2 years, second marriages for both of us, has been cheating. As the title says, my newish wife of only 2 years has been fucking another guy. I figured this kind of behavior wouldn't happen, or I wouldn't need to be concerned about it, since this is a second marriage for both of us. We went into this as mature adults, both in our 40s, and both had our lives figured out. The last several months her attitude toward me changed, and she was distant, irritable with me, and just wasn't fun to be around. Also, over the past while she started working from home a lot more. She has the ability to do that, but had always said she didn't like working at home and missed seeing people in person at the office. We are talking like 95% now working at home for her. That set off my alarm bells, but I figured I was just being paranoid and making up things in my head. Anyway, just to make myself feel better, I got a home surveillance system without her knowledge to see what she was doing at home every day, hopefully working. What I found was mid-morning most days a guy was coming over to our house to spend anywhere from 2 to 5 hours with my wife, of which it did not appear she was working at all. I am tempted to contact her employer and let them know that she is hardly working at all. Haven't approached her yet. I don't know how I will go about it. Have all the video evidence I need if she tries to tell me any stories about what she's been doing or deny it. Comment. Get the evidence to a lawyer and just hit her with divorce papers. It's only 2 years in and that's happening? Just walk away. Nothing she has to say will make you feel better or give you any kind of closure. She's a garbage person. I couldn't even imagine sleeping in that bed after knowing that. I'd be out of there in seconds. Go to lawyer, get her ducks in a row. Serve her, nuke the secret to family and friends after you serve. Kick her out of her home. Go no contact and only go through lawyers. After divorce, report her to HR. Now you know why her first marriage failed. She will continue to cheat. It's what cheaters do. Contact a lawyer, get your ducks in a row. First thing you should do is contact a lawyer and get all of your ducks in a row. Don't confront her just yet. Keep acting like everything is normal for the time being and listen to any advice your lawyer gives you. I have to ask, do you live in a at-fault state? Because those videos will be a huge help to you later on. By the way, how did her first marriage end? Next story 2. Caught wife cheating days ago. 3 days ago I caught my wife cheating. The affair happened from the start of last year until last month. So according to her and the evidence I found, they had sex 5 times, but there was a whole sexting relationship happening almost the whole time. There were so many pictures/videos she sent of herself to this man in compromising positions. I looked at them and thought, who is this woman? I saw the pictures and videos she sent, but she didn't know. She initially lied about the whole thing, said I was crazy to think something happened when I confronted her. She didn't fess up until I actually proved it. She lied about the timeline and frequency of events. It went from one fling in Dec/Jan 2022, to the latest sexual encounter in mid-September, 1 month ago. Also, there is no evidence to think it would have stopped if I hadn't caught her, even though she says it was the last time. What's worse, the guy she cheated on is a close family friend on her family's side, so everyone knows and loves him. I don't even know if other people know about the affair and just aren't saying anything. If it gets out, I'll look like a fool and a kook for staying, and who knows if the guy will take it to the grave. Lastly, while snooping I also found illicit texts with an ex-boyfriend from 2018, while we were on vacation. Also in 2018, I found extremely flirtatious, but not sexual chats at 10:20 at night with a church pastor. She said no sex happened with either. I can't prove otherwise. It's crazy, I really had no idea whom I was married to. Update asterisk. I forgot to say we were married with 4 kids. I'm the sole provider and she is a stay-at-home mom. The idea of having lawyers in a lengthy divorce fighting is not realistic, because none of us can afford lawyers. I think the best divorce option would be a cheap uncontested divorce. The question is, what does she want to do? Comment. She made that decision without any regard to the kids. They need to know what it looks like to stand up for oneself and for what duty toward family looks like, and what happens for when duty is betrayed. She didn't just betray you, she betrayed the family you created together as well. Putting the truth out there for her family and yours is important, because chances are good if you don't, it will all be turned on you, even as far as your kids resenting you because they were told a story to paint your wife in as the innocent party and didn't find out the truth from the start. In situations like this, men tend to get the short end of the stick because so many are ashamed to admit the truth. In reality, there is nothing to be ashamed of if you did what you could to love, provide, and protect your family and were taken advantage of as a result. If you stay, you will lose the respect of everyone around you. Your kids will be fine. It's time to do what's best for you now. And that is a swift and uncontested divorce. It's either now or the next time. It sucks, trust me, it won't get better. Back up all the proof. Then ask for an agreeable divorce. If she plays ball, then hold up until the papers are signed. If she doesn't, blow it up. Drop off proof to everyone, including the pastor and the church members. Her family, his family, mutual friends. I promise you she will just wallow for a bit and hide it better. Then you will be hurt even more. Next story 3. My husband cheated and is angry, I divorced him. I was married to my husband Adam for 16 years. We had problems in our marriage early on, around year 5, and I asked for a divorce because he acted like he didn't want to be married. We both worked full-time, but when I came home I cooked, cleaned and took care of our kid. When he came home he'd sit down and do nothing. I'd constantly have to ask for help, and even then he'd procrastinate until I finally did it myself. It got so bad that I stopped asking for help. I found out I was pregnant and decided I'd rather be alone with 2 kids than stay with him. I asked for a divorce. He cried and said he'd do better and help me more. To his credit, he did improve for about 6 months, then he went back to his old ways, and over time he got worse. A few years passed and he was out of the country on business when I was going over the bills and noticed our cell phone bill was over $2,000. I noticed 2 numbers in particular were called the most. So I called them. One was the younger woman he was sleeping with and the other was her father. Apparently he'd been dating her for months and had met her family. He'd lied and told them we were divorcing and she, Lanyi, could move back to the States and live in our home. Ed, Lanyi's dad, told me she was pregnant and a few months from having Adam's son. I called Adam at work and asked him about this. Instead of talking to me, he hung up and ran to his boss's office. They called me back on speakerphone and we worked out a plan for him to move out. In the same week I filed for divorce, and within 6 months we were divorced. He was embarrassed and extremely angry. He called me all kinds of B words and even told me he hoped I ended up homeless living in a ditch. His affair partner had their son and he moved to a job out of the country to try and have a relationship with Lanyi and their son. That didn't last long and he eventually abandoned her and their son, just like he abandoned our kids. To end on a happy note, I put my kids in therapy. My oldest kid refused therapy and eventually blamed me for the divorce. However, my youngest thrived in therapy. It's been 7 years now and we are the happiest we ever been. Every few years he'll pop up and demand to co-parent, but he had no relationship with our kids before the divorce, so it's too late now. Recently I had to go no contact as he has a temper and often becomes verbally abusive. Comment. But he isn't in either of your lives anymore. Why can't you get back in contact? It's been 7 years, I don't know what lies my ex originally told them about me or has told them since. I have the feeling that Lainey knew we were married and I'm sure she saw me and the kids on his Facebook page, but she chose to continue the affair anyway. I don't blame her because she didn't make a vow to me, but I also don't need that type of person in mine's or my kid's life, and talking to her dad could open the door for that. Lastly, I threw away all of their info when I threw away all of my ex's pictures and gifts from over the years. It's been 7 years, I don't know what lies my ex originally told them about me or has told them since. I have the feeling that Lainey knew we were married, and I'm sure she saw me and the kids on his Facebook page, but she chose to continue the affair anyway. I don't blame her because she didn't make a vow to me, but I also don't need that type of person in mine's or my kid's life, and talking to her dad could open the door for that. Lastly, I threw away all of their info when I threw away all of my ex's pictures and gifts from over the years. It's been 7 years. I don't know what lies my ex originally told them about me or has told them since. I have the feeling that Lainey knew we were married, and I'm sure she saw me and the kids on his Facebook page, but she chose to continue the affair anyway. I don't blame her because she didn't make a vow to me, but I also don't need that type of person in mine's or my kid's life, and talking to her dad could open the door for that. Lastly, I threw away all of their info when I threw away all of my ex's pictures and gifts from over the years. 002E What was the point of him wanting to discuss his affair on a speakerphone with his boss present? I'm sorry your older kid blames you, but it sounds like you did the right thing. Hopefully when your son is older he'll have a better understanding of the situation and respect what you had to do. Standing up for yourself is a good lesson for your kids. My ex is military and he thought I'd tell his boss to get him in trouble, so he ran to them first. Funny thing is I didn't know his boss, so I never would have been able to tell on him. My oldest is in their early 20s now. They aren't changing their mind. They had behavior issues when they were younger and blamed me for teaching them accountability. My ex would let them slide, so I'm not surprised they sided with him.